Lionel Messi at Miami. He was in international action for Argentina over the break. Miami won without him. They beat Sporting Kansas City, so they kept up their end of the bargain while he was away. And Nick, he scored a beautiful free kick to win it for Argentina against Ecuador as they kicked off World Cup qualifying with a bang. He didn't play against Bolivia, but they won away in La Paz, which is known for its altitude. And Messi was carrying a bit of a knock, traveled with the team. And then it seems like he filled out a bit of paperwork to actually become an assistant coach. So he sat on the bench with the team. To me, that's really interesting because some of the other players are saying it just shows his leadership that he could have just flown back to the US, but he wants to stay around the Argentine team after winning the World Cup, wants to kind of be that leadership figure. And yeah, I guess we focus so much on Messi, the player. I guess we don't really talk a lot about his leadership skills. Now he's entering the twilight of his career now. Maybe he is thinking about coaching in the future. That would be something beautiful to see. But it was pretty cool to see him whipping that great free kick and for Argentina to get off 2026 World Cup qualifying with a bang in South America.
Yeah, love watching him play. The coaching thing is pretty interesting in the sense that, you've got those sort of shadows of Ronaldo in the European Championship coming up to lead off the line. But to keep those two aside, like we talked about last week, I don't know, the culture of Argentina as a national team, right? Like Maradona always wanted to be the coach and then became the coach, was Messi's coach for a while. And there's just something, I don't want to say special because a lot of national teams have terrific culture, but there's something to that. There's something to what it means to be a part of that setup. And I think he just wants to be part of the furniture.
It's familial, isn't it? And I think back to the World Cup last winter, which is still a weird thing to say and wrap my head around, but the way that they celebrated immediately after winning the final with Messi, for Messi, because of Messi, like it was understood that, obviously they're a part of the team, but the tournament was so much about him and what he's meant to the history of the country and to the national team and the program. And that was, it felt like a culmination of so many different things. And it's nice to see that it goes both ways as well, that it's reciprocal, be from the rest of the teammates who are maybe, not Lionel Messi level stars. And then it goes back from Messi back to his teammates. There's a lot of give and take from both of those sides. And also, I mean, just look at Sergio Aguero hanging out as an honorary, I think, assistant coach for Inter Miami on the bench, wearing the polo just to be the best friend, I think, there and celebrate Messi as he does what he does in MLS. And so, yeah, it's a very familial thing. And it's in this day and age, it's rare and it's nice to see.
It is nice to see. I think we're now going to see, Nick, if Messi with all the travel, World Cup qualifiers, what he's been doing in MLS, now he's going to come back in to play for Inter Miami. In this end of season run, when again it's a sprint finish towards the playoffs now, and he's got another international break coming up in October. Be intriguing to see how he fares with that, right? Because even of how great he is, these are vast distances. Yes, he's been doing it for a long time, for qualifying, then back to Barcelona or PSG. I get that, but these are large distances between MLS stadiums that he's been traveling recently. I'm a bit worried it might catch up with him a little bit, but of course, Tata Martino said we're going to take care of him. We're going to manage him. They've already done that in a couple of games so far. But given how close it is in the playoff hunt for Miami and how, they've dragged themselves into it, it's going to be really hard to leave him out of some of these upcoming games.
Yeah, and Busquets and Alba aren't exactly young either. I think what we'll see, though, is a guy who it hasn't caught up to him yet, despite the fact that he has had to play in every meaningful game. I mean, think about what he's had to do at the Club World Cup. Think about what he's had to do every time he goes anywhere, he's expected to play, right? Like if there's a group stage game and Barcelona was 5-0, he's at least got to be on the bench, right? For marketing purposes as well. So if there's anybody equipped to handle it, plus he's a smaller guy. So even not being on those elite flights, at least he's going to, he's not going to be like bulging out of the seat like Virgil van Dijk would be.
Yeah, extra legroom. That is a very, very good point.
It's a good spin zone.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, when we look at Miami, next up is Atlanta. This is a huge game in the playoff hunt. I mean, Miami are 4 points off now with 2 games in hand. This is pretty special now. We talked about this, Andy, for a few weeks, that they are just creeping up the table, getting closer to the teams ahead of them. They play a lot of them remaining. So what can he expect in Atlanta this weekend? Because again, wherever he goes, like Nick said, all eyes will be on him. It'll be one heck of a party in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, won't it?
Yeah, it could be up to 71,000 there, and we know what the atmosphere has been like for Atlanta and for some instances since they've come into the league. I found it really interesting over the weekend. Not only was it Messi that was gone, but I think it was 7 or 8 international players. So they were out for that game against Sporting Kansas City, and they go down early in the first half, and they come back and they win 3-2 without Messi, without a number of players. Like, he has... I think it says a lot to the confidence of professional athletes and what just a little bit of having that can do for you and to improve your performances and improve your results. Because even without him there, I think a lot of us expected, well, we're going to see what the real Inter Miami team looks like right now. They're going to revert back to what they were. And I just think, maybe it's the responsibility of, got to do it for Messi, the way that Argentina did it last year. I think there's a level of inspiration that he's brought to the team and to the franchise that obviously didn't exist before. And so even when he is not physically present, it's almost like he is spiritually there, still driving them forward. At this point, if they make the playoffs, and I'm starting to believe that they're going to, I don't know how you pick anyone else to go and win MLS Cup. I know they'll have to go through the play-in probably. I know it'll be extra difficult and they'll be away from home. I just don't know that it's going to matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when you have Messi, I think. And a word on Tata Martino as well, just kind of getting that team without Messi to win that game. I think that's a huge part of it as well. And we kind of overlooked that a little bit because Messi arriving was such a huge moment, but having a manager of that caliber into Miami plays a huge role in their success in recent weeks. And coming up, the US Open Cup final. Just want to put that on everyone's radar. Inter Miami at home against Houston on September the 27th. Remember, you can watch that on Telemundo and on Peacock in the USA in Spanish. So we'll have you covered with all that's going on with Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. And again, he's got some internationals coming up in October for Argentina as well, all around the playoff hunt in MLS and the US Open Cup final. So he's a busy man. He's a brilliant man. We'll keep you updated here on PST with what Messi's up to in Miami.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.